Now to the latest developments in a deadly detention in Minneapolis. 4 police officers have been fired and an FBI and state investigations are underway following the death of George Floyd, a black man who died in police custody on Monday night. Video of his detainment shows Floyd being pinned to the ground by a white officer kneeling on his neck for about 8 minutes. In the video, Floyd could be heard begging for help, saying, "I cannot breathe." We have a warning now for you. This video that you're about to see is very disturbing.
I can't breathe. Please, the knee in my neck. I can't breathe shit.
Bro, get up, get in the car, man.
I will.
Get up, get in the car.
I can't move.
A bystander can be heard saying his nose is bleeding. After several minutes, Floyd stopped moving. He was later pronounced dead at a local hospital. Police initially said they had arrived at the scene for a reported forgery in progress and that Floyd had physically resisted officers. Less than 24 hours after the incident, the Minneapolis mayor tweeted that the firing of the officers was, quote, the right call. The lawyer representing the Floyd family said he and his team will seek justice for Floyd's death. The death of Floyd sparked violent protests across Minneapolis yesterday. Demonstrators were met with officers and riot gear and tear gas was used to disperse the crowds. Protesters are demanding that the officers be arrested, and the case is drawing comparisons to the 2014 death of Eric Garner.
Willie, I was just saying, this reminds me so much of Eric Garner, where he was selling cigarettes. Here, a suspected forgery, and they kill a black man by kneeling on his throat.
Nobody
for
says
8
stop,
minutes.
ease up.
And all those cops just standing around, staring at him. I mean, beyond egregious. Yes, they should be fired and they should be arrested.
It's physically sickening, and it makes you furious watching that. You cannot believe as this man lies with a knee on his neck, still calling the officer sir, by the way, as he pleads for him to get off his neck because he can't breathe. Watching him die. America is watching an African-American man die in this video. That's very difficult to watch, but that we ought to watch, Reverend Sharpton. His crime, allegedly passing a counterfeit $20 bill at a food shop, a restaurant. The owner of that store called police as his protocol because he believed there was counterfeit money. So for passing a counterfeit $20 bill, that's the allegation, he lost his life with a knee on his neck as other officers stood by with their backs to it. They heard the cries too, and yet they did nothing. There's no universe, whatever Mr. Floyd did, there is no universe where that action was justified.
The police heard the cries because people passing by heard the cries and begged for mercy. They did not interfere and stop the officer who had the knee on his neck and say, wait a minute, you can't do that, or you should stop, or even the moral plea of he could lose his life. And when I started getting the calls yesterday, and I spent all day yesterday into the night talking to Attorney Ben Crump, who's going to represent the family here, it was so reminiscent of the 2014 case of Eric Garner, a case we still involved with that family in National Action Network. I can't breathe, and the policeman choked him until he died. I agree wholeheartedly. These policemen should have been fired, good, but they should be arrested and charged. At what point, when you are holding a man down, knee in his neck, causing him to not breathe and him pleading for his life, at what time does that turn into intent? Even if you may argue, and I don't know if I accept it, but if you may argue that was not his intent when they grabbed him down, it became intent at some point, and that gives you enough of a probable cause to arrest them officers today, because at some point he intended not to stop inflicting that deadly pain on this gentleman, and at some point those officers standing around intended not to interfere and enforce the law, and intent and probable cause is the basis of an arrest.
Right, and so what's going to happen what can happen to make sure that charges are brought, Reverend, to make sure that this doesn't end up like the Eric Gardner case?
I think that what has to happen is now that the FBI is involved and an independent investigation is done, and we look at the state attorney general there in Minnesota, who does have a record of being fair from his congressional days. I think, unlike New York, we may, because of the state attorney general and because of the FBI, see a different outcome. But we are going to support that family. We are going to support those local activists. We want them to be nonviolent, but we don't want them to have a 2 or 3 day kind of furor and not follow up and demand justice. This will not stop until bad police, and I'm not saying all police are bad or even most are, but until bad police know they will go to jail if they break the law like any other lawbreaker in this country, they will feel they can get away with it. This time they must be prosecuted.
Coming up, Twitter fact checks the president, yet he still promotes conspiracy theories no matter who he hurts. We'll have more on that straight ahead.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.